Her Majesty is a mountain. Her Majesty is a mountain, and the mountain has a pass, and the crow's nest pass is in the Rockies, and the Rockies have a spirit, and the spirits tell a story, and the story is a reflection of ourselves. When we look into the mysterious eyes of the mountain, we hear the sighs of her experience, 80 million years old. And it is told Her Majesty is still growing. She's still on the rise. She's still on the rise in all of her seductive orogeny. Grassy and otherwise, when we look into the distance of her eyes, we see the range of her existence. We see the beauty of her fossilized. We don't wish to ruin her ancient ways. Instead, we are led to dream of hiking her trails, climbing to her peaks, listening to her speak through the flow of her water, brooks and creeks, as she melts in a craggy path and her waters run down the curves of her gullies, her lush mountainside, sometimes on the slide, always in a groove, down the cleft of her. She doesn't give a scree. She's got nothing to prove. She moves as she desires to move in wisdom. Day breaks and her soul is wide open. She shifts and she's covered with dew, glistening. And then she turns on the spot, fouette, fouette, into a sweet summer stream. Her voice fluent. She is our blood stream. As she flows, she trickles down, nurturing moss, so we can touch the fertility ground with a profound intimacy. In her dream, her light dances across, it skims, sparkling off the top of her turquoise skin, deep as a glacial lake. Nothing about her is fake or lies or deceives. She only gives and receives, yes. She invites us, entices us into her creation. As we breathe her heightened elevation, the thinness of her air intoxicates us and expands us inside her dream state, metamorphic. We envision getting lost in her trees, catching sun rays and moonbeams, running free in and through and around her. After everyone else has gone home, we might sight one of her creatures, large or small, a grouse maybe, or a ptarmigan, a moose, an elk, or a bear, or a deer, symbol of omnipresent Soma. Soma, Soma. And in this dream, we imagine those who traveled these peaks before us. The golden eagle ascends, soars high overhead, offers a feather to the mountain to titillate her and give her thanks. Ospreys, boreal owls, woodpeckers, larks, and mountain chickadees sing to her in unique song. All part of Her Majesty. She has so many faces, it would take a lifetime for us to know her, for her to know her, for us to explore all the ridges and valleys of her massif, dancing in sways, buttercups, larkspurs, and violets. As the sun goes down, we catch her in full silhouette. And there is a stillness about her, a simplicity in her solitude. The rocks of her enter our souls as we behold her wilderness beyond human control. Standing proud, she holds the key to possibility. from the snowy peaks to the apex of her tongue, from the connected roots at her source under her grassy gown to the lines of her meridians extending all around. She is misty and sensual and elegant, ferocious, hallowed and reflective, full of grace. She wears a crown of this place and others of ponderosa pine. Why would it be fine to destroy her? Chinook winds blow, and we are filled with hope and humility when we are in her presence. She quakes and thunders, she shudders and shakes, longs for love like all great majesties through rain and sleet and snow and storm and wind and sun. Hieroglyphs of her drift overhead in the sky. They move among the clouds, gathering messages from groundwaters well beneath her surface, where beings move in spiritus, unseen to the naked eye, full of anim and wild butterfly. Some days when we're listening in for an instant or a long foray, we hear her and we might sing along to the song of her mystic, to the song of her mystic, to the song of her mystic, her mystic. Mountains of learning, mountains of yearning. Some find it easier to go up the mountain, others find it easier to go down. Mountains of learning, mountains of yearning. When I was young, I lowered my hair into the cold waters of her. The way she touched my scalp tingled me alive. The scent of wildflowers changed after that. Mountains of learning, mountains of yearning. I cupped my hands and drank from the holiest of waters. Old man river, our chalice well, sacred as the ghosts that move through these foothills, otherworldly footprints of history. Mountains of learning, mountains of yearning. I lowered myself into the space between her massive stones to hear the wind blow, howl, and whisper through the hollows of her great abyss, and into my being an echo of seeing shook me to my mortal coil, and I found myself crying, Oriole. Mountains of learning, mountains of yearning. I climbed to one of her peaks, and twice I almost lost my life. She was there for me. She held me, my fear of her and myself at bay, showed me how to survive those days. With an altitude attitude, fierce as a force of nature, she showed me how to crawl, and then she showed me how to stand my ground tall, shooting stars purple beneath my feet. Mountains of learning at the summit of it all. I stood there at her highest point on her supernatural stones, and I spun around, and I couldn't see a single thing that reminded me of anything but her. No humans, no human things. Truly at one with her, my heart climaxed like in leeway. And at those times when I forget to see, at those times when I don't know what to say, she leads me to wander in her wonder, to see everything anew, eyes open. She stops me in her tracks to pray. She was there when I met my first grizzly bear eye to eye. She taught me how to trust and just walk away slowly. Namaste, namaste. And when I ate with loneliness, I returned to her. And when I needed to grieve, I returned to her. And when my mind is in knots, I return to her. And when I dream of bathing in her pleasure, I return. She always greets me with open arms, like we just saw each other yesterday. And she says, I am here for you. I am here with you. Share yourself with me. Time expands when I'm with her, and there's time, so I take it to meander and amble through dreams until they dynamize. Don't they realize there are mountains of learning still ahead as they scheme to decapitate off with her head our beautiful mountain dead? As they plot to destroy our earth and air and water and balance and lessons and dreams. Once a mountain is removed, it can never be replaced, which affects all people everywhere, all mountains, every place, don't they see? In the future, the greatest resource we have is the resource of natural beauty. Clear waters, untouched wilderness, ecological diversity, where dreams expand into time, endless, priceless, rare. But only if our mountain remains her majesty, noble, natural, sublime. No mine, no mine, no mine. It's not yours. It's big horn country. No mines. No mines. No mines. Just disappear into time, into time, into time.